Hi, welcome to Tech Alley. I'm RJ, your tech ally, and today we're talking about people and computers and how we get along, or how we can get along better by answering your questions. If you have questions that you want answered about technology, computers, the internet generally, leave a comment or ask me directly in social media and we'll put it on the next episode. This episode 9, it's Saturday. A little late on the posting, but I think we'll be okay. Let's see who asked some questions this week. Right now, I have a couple of housekeeping announcements. E-waste collection. If you are possessing your junk from computers and wires and cords and power supplies, these things do pile up, especially for somebody like me. So contact a local e-waste recycler and you can drop off a lot of this stuff so that it doesn't end up in a landfill. And I can tell you that your major big box technology places will accept old computers and otherwise e-waste to their collection. And so you are, encouraged to not put some of this metal and plastic into a place where it can't be reused. And that's a really great thing. So that's my PSA for the environment. And let's get on to the real questions. So Larry asks me about his ePay options. He's asking me, RJ, my business needs to be able to receive payments. How do I approach that safely? And Larry, I'm glad you asked, because this is a great question. E-payments or electronic payments are a challenge on the internet. A lot of people are using the internet as a means through which they can get paid and pay people. And as we get more and more apps and more popular types of transactioning, microcharging within apps are going to become more the standard than not. And electronic payments, Larry, are definitely in the picture. I personally have recommended people do not expose their bank accounts or their banking numbers or even their credit card numbers on the internet. One of the safest ways to go is to find an internet-friendly, regulated payment service like PayPal or Zelle. Venmo has problems, if only that these companies in their new early days state are still being looked after by the regulators, and we'll see how that works out. The same thing is going to go with any other types of currencies. We won't talk about crypto today, but there is a lot of options when it comes to payments and receiving and sending payments and money on the internet. I would recommend, Larry, that your company do not accept electronic payments until you are confident and you have full faith and trust in the institutions that you are using for your transactions. It's always going to be a request made for you to receive money, and not always is it a good idea to employ a brand new or unheard of payment service because those are so easily spoofed and exploited. So, the question is, keep your payment services down to the least number of services that you can use, and do not expose your personal and private banking information publicly for electronic payments. Larry, I hope that helps, and thank you for that question. We have another question that came up, which is the multi-factor authentication round 2. So when I did an episode a couple episodes ago about multi-factor authentication, or MFA, these kinds of services are meant to make you feel more secure and allow you to transact these same, with comfort, maybe payment services or otherwise sharing the private information that you wouldn't expose to the public. So multi-factor authentication. A lot of times now you are being asked to enter in a code from your telephone numbers. And in this case, the questioner asks about the automation of such a thing, or when it goes wrong, what do you do? And the first of those things is do not, if you can help it, do not automate the two-factor authentication. It's there for a reason. Those companies would like to know that you are the actual owner of the account when you attempt to log into these services. So it isn't a great idea to work around that, because you will be surprised how many times those accounts are compromised and then your information otherwise is being exposed. So what do? You can add multiple factors. In other words, you will want to have more than one telephone number, even though that's the minimum. You would have a better chance to have 2 email addresses on your profile so that your multiple factors can be checked in multiple ways. And that's a safe way to go as we start to see various companies starting to use this product, multi-factor authentication or two-factor, or more than 2. You can expect that it's going to grow. And I appreciate the question, because as we're traveling into the future, these companies would like to know who they're dealing with, and they take some extremes to make sure that you are you. And it goes in both directions. When you're being asked of your personal information, you want to know that they're authentic and true, and so you're not entering information into some random hacker's vacuum cleaner of information, because that does happen quite a bit. We had one other question that came in this morning, and may explain why I'm a little bit late today, which is that somebody had a web page that was screaming and beeping at them, and the question came in: help, I've got this frozen computer, do I need to take it in? And well, at this point, this member was a Patreon, and she had been a member for a while, so I wanted to address that right away. So we spoke, and they first things first, don't panic. When these things happen, they are intentionally panic inducing. The screaming or the beeping or the noise making is intentionally supposed to make a person kind of freak out. And it does. It works out quite well, actually. Being able to trigger people's responses is at the heart of any social engineering scheme. And this particular one was very particularly indicating that you should call a telephone number. And what's amazing is this person did call that telephone number. When you get an unsolicited proposal to call a telephone number from the internet, I would suggest not. Just not. And if you're seeking a telephone number, be sure that somebody else may answer the phone. And so there are reasons why these scams continue, and that's because the panic and the telephone number induces people to make bad choices. So on that account, we were able to recover from that by interrupting the web tab that was loading automatically, causing this havoc to persist across multiple restarts. And once that service was discontinued in the task manager, we were able to put that to bed, and life goes on. And there was no major, impact on the machine. It just happened to be that this client ran across a very common exploit that is seen on the internet more and more. So if you are approaching a page that starts yelling at you and telling you to call phone numbers, don't do that. Join the Patreon down here in the links and find out from Seabreeze how you too can put some of these kinds of panic-inducing issues to bed and not take the damage that comes from those kinds of exploits. Okay, so if you see me next week, I'm going to try to do another live stream. We don't know. Live is so, very hard for me anyway. I haven't done it before. When I start, I will probably like it. And I hope to hear from you guys if you'd like to see me do a live event where you can ask your questions and basically have a group consultation. All right. So until next week, thank you for joining us here at Tech Alley with RJ and Seabreeze. If you like, subscribe and tell your friends that this channel is out there to help the humans and protect the things that really count. And hopefully, we're united in that front. And from that, I'll see you next week.